The Israel Defense Forces have confirmed the death of at least one soldier in southern Lebanon, where it launched a ground invasion almost 2 weeks ago. The announcement comes a day after 3 Lebanese journalists were killed in a targeted Israeli airstrike on their press vehicle in southern Lebanon. Among those killed was a well-known correspondent for Al-Manar TV, a station affiliated to the Iranian-backed Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. The Israeli army claims he was a Hezbollah member who had been exposing Israeli military positions but didn't give any evidence to back up that claim. Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun called the strike a brazen crime that broke the most basic rules of international law. Our correspondent Lena Sinjab joins us from Beirut. Lena, tell us more about the President's comments.
Well, this is also a big condemnation from the president after it also came from, media authorities here in the country, basically, condemning the attack and calling it violating all, international norms of protecting journalists. This is not the first time Israel attacks journalists in Lebanon throughout these 3 weeks of war. Last week, they also targeted another Al-Manar presenter when he was asleep in his flat with his wife. There was a strike that killed them both while in their flat. So the Israelis also used the same allegation that that he is affiliated with Hezbollah's, military operations, but they haven't provided any evidence to back this up. They didn't make any comments about his wife being killed as well. So, and today, the 3 journalists who were killed yesterday, 2 others work for Al Mayadeen television, which is, a television also close to the Iranians. But these journalists were on the ground with their uniform, with all signs saying it's press. So it's a clear violation of, the laws of protecting journalists. And really, the country is shocked by, more and more violations on a daily basis. Not only journalists, but also yesterday there were 7 paramedics killed that, got the total number of paramedics killed throughout this conflict to 50. With no real, comments by Israelis, rather than saying that ambulances are being used by Hezbollah to transfer weapons. And also, they haven't provided any proof to back up this claim.
Lena, it's in the last few days that the United Nations has warned that there is no safe place for civilians to seek shelter anywhere in Lebanon, not even in Beirut. So how much are people on the move, given that we've had that warning from the UN?
Well, there are daily airstrikes in the south of Beirut and in the south of the country. Daily movement by people, daily warnings of evacuations. But the problem is also that there are attacks that are happening outside of Hezbollah's strongholds. So even here in the center of Beirut, some attacks took place in areas that people have fled to seek safety. And Israel said that they are, targeting Hezbollah members, targeting Iranian Revolutionary Guards members, and that's, making civilians feel unsafe, and many are being killed throughout these attacks. So it's really hard for civilians to know where to stay these days. And at the same time, the ground invasion is still ongoing. Hundreds of thousands had to flee their homes and villages in the south, while there are still, according to the UN, 150,000 trapped in the south after Israel bombed bridges and infrastructures that could connect them to the north or keep their areas, habitable. Many argue that the Israelis are following these tactics to make the south, to depopulate the south, so that they continue controlling it in a new form of occupation, which is really what's worrying both the government and the civilians who are losing their homes and towns and villages.
At the moment, thank you very much, Lena Sinjab in Beirut.